details. Well, the former Eskom acting CEO Matshela Koko says he's not sure why Suzanne Daniels lied about him and Eskom before the State Capture Commission. Daniels, who's the former legal head and company secretary at Eskom, told the Commission a phone call to the Guptas led to the suspension proceedings against Koko being called off. Daniels also testified that complaints were laid against Koko about a tender awarded to a company owned by his stepdaughter, as well as bullying in the workplace. However, testifying before the Commission, Koko has denied those claims.
My experience now with the Commission is that I have to show you the documents, otherwise you forget. And let me tell you this. Let me say this. Ms. Daniels says to me to distance herself from the info portal address. She says to you that actually Mr. Koko was my supervisor on the 20th of July, 2015. He had no reason to take an email from me and say it's for Ms. Daniels, it's for the chairman. There could not have been a reason for that because he was my supervisor. I was not in the chairman's office. What he said. I told you then that she's lying to you. But when I left, it worried me, and I went to dig up documents to show you that it's lying. For a start, bundle that I want to take you to is her affidavit.
Yeah, we can go there.
It's her affidavit. Can you go to her?
Let's go there.
Can you go to Ms. Daniels' latest affidavit? And you, Chair, I can't tell you why would Ms. Daniels come and lie to you. I can't just tell you that, but he's doing it. And the only reason he's doing it is to make me feel look bad, and hopefully she thinks that I will not have the documentary evidence to show you that she is indeed lying.
Our reporter Tumaole Mohlaoli, following events at State Capture Inquiry today, joins us now. Tumaole, good afternoon to you. There's a little bit of a war of words between Daniels and Koko here.
Certainly no love lost today. Koko is telling the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and not for the first time, that Suzanne Daniels is actually the mastermind behind basically compromising very secure email communications that's supposed to be kept very private between executives at the power utility. This speaks to that email address, info portal or businessman. The Commission has been working very hard to try and establish exactly who is behind that particular portal, and it turns out that one Salim Essa would be behind the portal, which means executives who thought they were communicating with each other were giving away certainly very, very critical information around, business deals, opportunities, and other key operational matters at Eskom to Mr. Essa and the Guptas. Now, Suzanne Daniels says she's not behind business info portals, a businessman. She points it at Matshela Koko, saying he gave her the email address. And he's refuting that and saying that at every turn she has misled the Commission.
Sure. Okay. Now, there's an argument as well about newspaper advertising. Koko says he tried to block this. Is this, what was that newspaper called again?
Yes, he says he tried to block the advertising to the New Age. And the New Age newspaper was one of those newspapers that, of course, was owned by the Guptas. And he says that in terms of the advertising deal, what he tried to block was newspapers that were blacklisted. And the blacklisting of these newspapers was done because the then chairman felt that every week on Sundays, Eskom's problems were splashed across the front pages, and therefore he had to hit back at some point. He had to create some space for the executives to try and turn around the utility. And so how did he do that? He went and he instructed, allegedly, the utilities commercial branch to withdraw contracts or to withdraw advertising specifically against those newspapers that were mentioned. And Koko says that he did not try to rubber stamp this. In fact, he tried to block it. He says that he had been standing against this, and this is why there was a problem or a clash of personality, and why Dr. Ngubane had it in for him.
Sure. And then Koko also, he has a lot of feuds, but he had a feud with Dr. Ben Ngubane as well, who was the chair of Eskom.
Yes. He was the chair of Eskom. And this seems to be another sort of personality clash. If you heard Dr. Ben Ngubane's evidence before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, he says he didn't have it in for Matshela Koko. He seems to remember that they had a cordial relationship. But Koko questions why it seems that Mr. Ngubane was second-guessing him and wanted him out of the way. He says that it was Dr. Ngubane who was leading this sort of charge that Koko, was a Gupta ally.
And now, I mean, it all hinges around this info portal address. I mean, we keep coming back to the same thing. And of course, you know, the Commission has to try and work out who it was controlled by at the time, not now, right?
Yes, absolutely, at the time. And this is the tricky part, because when you're looking at this he says, she says, because Dr. Ngubane was also put on the hot seat saying, what about this email? Now, in his response, he says that he thought that was an internal email, and he wouldn't, at his level, be dealing with emails, and that's what Suzanne Daniels' responsibility was all about.
Tumaole Mohlaoli, thanks very much indeed. Our reporter do appreciate it, as always.